Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Saturday to you. We're going to take another look, of course, here at Bitcoin, see what's going on, and help us understand best practice and big picture, and just kind of see if this is sustainable or not. And what I mean by that is just simply put, is it worth holding on to or adding to your position or essentially taking a long position? There's a lot of different scenarios, of course. We're going to try to take a look at each of those as well. But for the most part, if you are new to the channel, of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I just love teaching people to trade. Really hope you can learn something here today. And my goal and my passion is to help you become a better trader. So I truly hope that you can become, a better you and learn a little bit at a time. All right. So again, if you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is the website. Link in the description below. I offer a trading academy, community, and signal group, and also offer discounts for third world countries and military as well. So thank you very much for your service. And if you have questions, comment below, of course, or more importantly, direct message me through either Telegram or Discord. My contact information is down below, of course, but look forward to hearing from you. All right, enough about that. Take a look here at Bitcoin. Here's kind of where we're at. So it's not looking good, not looking pretty. Our support at 20,000 has effectively been broken. Granted, today's candlestick hasn't closed yet, but the likelihood of the price recovering today is pretty low, especially on a weekend with low volume. Okay. Now, liquidity is down essentially in the overall sense of things. So if we take a look at Bitcoin dominance, we can see it's been dropping pretty steadily for the last few days. So the last 6 days straight, we've seen a significant drop. Now, keep in mind too, there is a correlation there between that and here. If you take a look at the S&P 500, last 6 days have been abysmal, terrible losses in a lot of ways. And there's no reason why this won't continue down, but also keep in mind there was a lot of volume, of course, on Friday. We had a doji candle there too, so there's no reason why the price couldn't still recover, but honestly, it's not looking very good. Again, with increased volume and a doji candle does kind of signal a reversal. Now, we're not here for the S&P 500, but that is just something to acknowledge, the fact that there's a correlation between Bitcoin dominance coming down and the price falling. In other words, low liquidity, we have less money available, and in turn, we're looking at a situation where Bitcoin is going to probably continue lower as Bitcoin dominance decreases. So again, it's unfortunate, but that is the circumstances that we're in right now. And that's just kind of the way it works. So not telling you to short yourself, short a position right now, but I am saying that it might be more viable than a long position. All right. So again, that's just the way it goes for the moment, especially with this Dragonfly Doji candle closing yesterday, really just signaling that strong continuation of the downside. Today, of course, with the bearish engulfing candle, we'll probably see another red day tomorrow just based on that sentiment alone. But once again, no guarantees here. Now, traditionally speaking, minus the last weekend, we have seen some pretty green weekends. So there is still a potential that the price might recover, but it'd probably be best to expect it not to. Okay, that's the best thing to think about right now. I would say hope for the best and expect the worst. That's essentially the best way to go in this kind of climate because of the simple fact that it's just not great, no matter how you look at it. And once again, Bitcoin's being heavily influenced by the traditional markets, and of course, hyperinflation. Everything is kind of coming to a head. All that COVID stuff is kind of coming back full circle, so to speak. We're paying for our debts now. So that's kind of where we're at here. And Bitcoin being a secondary market, unfortunately, it's getting hit pretty hard. We're still under 30 on the RSI. That won't change. We're looking at a significant MACD divergence here. Still diverging. There's no reason to expect it to reverse anytime soon. It's really just looking, I hate to say doom and gloom, but it's really not looking good. There's literally nothing that I see here that looks positive. We can also confirm on the monthly. We lost our support level, of course, at 20,000. We know that, but we also lost our support, again, tentative. The month hasn't closed yet, but we're tentatively below this moving average, a simple moving average of 50 on the monthly. That's never a great sign. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at there. Let's go ahead and look at this smaller / middle term here. You can see on the 4 hour, still getting rejected by the 20-day SMA. In fact, it didn't even bother to retest it here yesterday. It just went straight down. The strong amount of volume here as well implies that we do have a lot of selling pressure and less buying pressure, especially with Bitcoin dominance coming down. That tells us that obviously with all the altcoins getting wrecked, if you look at this here, every single altcoin is red. That tells you if Bitcoin dominance is coming down and all the altcoins are down as well, then the money's just coming out. It's like leaving the market. Okay, so we have a lot less liquidity, a lot less Bitcoin in general, or just trading pairs that have a decent amount of volume. Those are all dissipating. Okay, which is why this push to the downside was stronger than it should have been, because there's no buying pressure and no money in the market. There's a lot of U.S. tether getting pulled out as well. I know there's a significant amount of reduction there recently. So somebody knows something, right? And it's our job to understand what they know better. And obviously, they know and feel that the recession is coming. I'm not trying to say that we are in a recession, but it's looking like that. We're definitely in a bear market based on the S&P being down by over 20% since the first of the year. And those are all things that are going to factor in here. Okay, so please just recognize that. Yeah, it sucks, but hey, dollar cost average wherever you can. Me, I'm doing a $20 dollar cost average every single day into Bitcoin. I know it seems kind of funny and trivial, but just a little bit at a time. And inevitably, after months of this price point being as low as it is, I would have averaged my position down a little bit and helped my overall position when it recovers. Because again, it's a matter of time. I hear people talking about cryptocurrency, disappearing. No, there's no way of that. And even if they were to regulate it, it would almost reinforce how positive it is. So in a lot of ways, we're not looking in dire straits by any stretch, but the price is probably going to continue lower based on us losing that key level support. 20,000, literally there's no volume between 20,000 and 14,000. Okay, I misspoke. There is some volume. It's just not much. All right, so let's just take a quick look here. This is a really, really big picture, but if we take a look at the volume profile, there's a lot of volume in the 9,000 range and the 13,000, but if you look between 14 and 20 right here, that's a hell of a gap, right? And if you look at this here as well, while there was some buying pressure between November and December, that's only 5 weeks worth of volume. And you can't even really factor this in because you see how low the volume is, it's really irrelevant. Okay, so for the most part, the amount of volume that we have right here is very, very low, which implies that we don't have a lot of support in this area. Okay, because again, volume speaks very loud in a lot of ways when it comes to support. And with there being such little amount of volume right in this range here, this is the only support that we have. Is this? That's not much at all. Okay, so I would say a short from 19 to 14 is potentially a very strong likelihood. And I would, kind of prepare for something like that. It's just kind of one of those things here where in this situation, losing 20,000, disadvantageous. We're probably going to see a lower price point. Will it dump this weekend? Perhaps. It'd be nice if we just got it over with. That would be cool. But if not, we can expect a slow bleed down and sideways. Again, we're going to still continue to maintain this descending trend line and effectively help us understand that until we break back above that and or the 50-day SMA, which is this orange line here, then we're going to be in a position where we have to expect the price to go either lower or sideways. I anticipated it going sideways for some time between 20 and 24,000. I can confidently say I was wrong in that sense, but the thing about it is with range trades, range trading is trading in a range until it doesn't, right? So now that we're underneath that, we have to reevaluate and assess and understand that there's a strong chance that 20,000 will be the new resistance level, right? That's generally what we're looking at. So on the 4 hour, if we can kind of see here, we're back under 30 on the RSI. I was trying to hold. Of course, that strong push to the downside, this extra volume, arbitrarily on a Saturday at 1 a.m. That essentially changed things a little bit, right? So somebody with a lot of Bitcoin sold off and made some serious profits or sold at a loss and the price came down, okay? It's essentially what we're looking at there. We do have a MACD divergence here, of course, as well, kind of just signaling that we have a strong chance for the price to continue lower because this overall momentous trend, even though it wasn't momentous at all, really effectively is null and void now, okay? So that's kind of what we're looking at. Let's look at the 1 hour and let's see. I'm sure the cloud is going to give us all green lights here, which it does. I mean, not necessarily saying you want to open a short position right now at the very bottom, but it certainly wouldn't be the worst thing ever because once again, this here is going to be a strong resistance level now. The cloud will continue to maintain itself as a resistance too. So I think the likelihood of Bitcoin coming up is much lower than the price going down, okay? So however you want to, negotiate that is up to you. I would recommend dollar cost averaging over, shorting a ton, but I think it's inevitable for the price to come lower now that we're here. But, again, maybe we have a prevailing wind this next week and something happens positively, but it just doesn't look like it. Everything's pointing down right now, and we're at like a 6 or a 7 on the fear, uncertainty, and doubt meter. That's the lowest it's been, I think, in like 4 years or something crazy. I think it might have hit that point during COVID, but that's kind of a one-off. Again, hyperinflation, a lot of things are factoring in, and it's just not the greatest situation. But that being said, I hope that you can be cautious and careful. I would recommend dollar cost averaging. You don't have to necessarily have the same strategy as me, but once a week, once a month, add to your position a little bit at a time. I prefer just a little bit every single day because it works the best for me in that sense, knowing that I'm truly averaging myself down instead of trying to buy the dip. Because sometimes you can't truly do that. It's going to be very difficult, especially in this market when some random Bitcoin holder decides to just tank the market and everyone else is left feeling sorry for themselves. So the key is to not feel sorry for yourself. Because here's the thing, when it comes to trading, you get used to this kind of stuff. And I know it sounds kind of weird and crazy, but I wouldn't say you become a glutton for punishment, but you definitely get used to this, and it starts affecting you less if you don't let it. In other words, if you're strong in here, then you're going to be strong right there, all right? It's just kind of, they work together. So be mentally strong, prepare yourself, find ways of conditioning yourself. I teach this in my trading academy on how to be more emotionally independent and to effectively make sure that you are trading without that extra monkey on your back, right? There's a lot of different strategies you can employ, but to me, after 16 years of trading, I can tell you that the first few years I beat my head against the wall and I did a lot of stupid, stubborn stuff. I've learned from my mistakes. I make a lot less of them now. I'll admit for sure still make mistakes, but they become less compounding, right? A lot of that is because I just learned to walk away and I take a few days off, or whatever the case is. We all have our own strategies, but I highly recommend you figure something out so you don't get so discouraged by the market that you're upset. It shouldn't affect your day. That's the bottom line. You gotta let it ride and roll. I know it's easy to say when you're losing thousands of dollars. Trust me, I'm down as well. But the only way to get back up is to improve and to obviously learn as much as you can between now and then. Another thing to also recognize too is that millionaires are made in their second bull run, not their first. So a lot of us, including the majority of my community members, got in at November, December, January, right at the peak. So I know that sucks. We're down like 70, 80, almost 90% in some cases, depending on the altcoins that you chose. So yes, that's unfortunate, but if you have the opportunity, not everyone does, I recognize that, to average your position down, I can assure you this next momentous increase, which is inevitable, it's not like it's not going to happen. We're looking to be very, very good position if you can afford to add to your position now. I know it's crazy because you got to eat, of course, and pulling all your crypto out to make sure that you survive is a different story. I get that. If there's any way possible to just put in a little bit, it could be $5 a day, $1 a day. Make it happen if you can, because inevitably it will recover. Markets always do. Our traditional market will recover too. It's just a matter of time. All right, so that's a little pep talk there for the day. Good luck. Be safe. Have a great weekend. Careful with your long positions right now. Shorts do appear to be pretty decent. I would maybe consider a short position at 19,000. Maybe add to your position at 20,000 if the price were to come back up and reject off that resistance level. And then make some profit targets on the way down, with 14,000 being the lowest. We shouldn't see much lower than 14,000. There's a pretty strong support shelf there, but between here and there, 19 to 14, it's a fair free fall. There's a great chance that we're going to see the price cascade lower, very similar to what we saw here last weekend, as a matter of fact. So again, do what you will, but be safe and keep a positive mental attitude. That's the important thing here. The sky is not falling. This is very standard stuff. We'll get through this. All right. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I do look forward to working with you if you want to become a community member. CryptoCache.tech is a website, link in the description below. I hope you have a great one. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you soon.